All right, here's a hopefully brief overview of all the changes to Ear Trainer. What we're looking at right now is the new course dashboard. Here's a list of my courses. Let me go ahead and click into one of these. So when you're looking at a course, you have assignments, sections, enrollment, and gradebook. So I can see what all this looks like. For students to join, you just give them this code, this join code, you just copy it, send it to them. And if you're using an LMS like Canvas or Blackboard, you can link it and it will create a folder in your LMS and replace all the assignments with all the stuff you create in Ear Trainer. It's pretty convenient. All right, so let me show you all the changes. So I'm going to open up this assignment. Before I show you, let me go ahead and erase all the submissions so I can change things. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you examples of everything here. So melodic dictation, harmonic dictation, and all of these question types. So the main change for everything is obviously the interface. Settings like points, listenings, attempts, these all exist up here by the question title. Instructions here, they take up a little bit less space than before. And then we get into the answer key and the recording. So for melodic dictation, I make my answer key, I choose my recording, and let me go ahead and right, so I can drag an XML on here, and that's my melody. These should all look familiar up here. If I want to make changes, can do that. Same thing for the recording. I can actually generate like you're probably used to. There's some more advanced settings if you want to get crazy with reverb and stuff like that. Or if you want to choose different instruments, you can do that as well. Or you can just drag and drop whatever recording you want to use. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and go on to harmonic dictation. So for this, again, you can just drop an XML file or you can type things in manually. So I'm going to do the second option just to show you how this works. So if you remember, in the earlier version, there was a Roman numeral pad that you clicked below the staff and then you clicked the Roman numeral and inversion. Now you can just type and it will convert things to the appropriate symbols. So if I type 5, 7 or 5, 4, 3, it's automatically going to convert. So let me go ahead and do this 5, 7. I can choose my recording. For harmonic dictation, you can get a little bit more complicated with the recording generation. There's presets, piano, string quartet, woodwind choir, piano and outer winds, so you can double the outer voices if you'd like. And there's also a voice mixer. When you have 4 voices, you can choose the volume for each one. You can just play around with that. Okay. Let's go on. Rhythm chunks. So it's a dictation question, so you got an answer key and you have a recording. The difference here is you can choose the rhythmic palette that you want your students to use. So right here I just have quarter, a couple of eighths, and then quarter rest. So let's say my answer key is this. I'll be mean. Okay. Then when I go to actually try this as a student, which I'm going to preview it right now, then this is what they have to work with. So they listen to the recording, and then they click whatever measure they want to edit, and then they can delete things and just work that way. All right, singing. Let me go get my XML file. All right, confirm key. Cool. So the singing question has a couple of settings that you can play with. The first is tempo. So for this, the tempo that the student sings at needs to be greater than or equal to 75. You can also transpose if you want. So it's written in C major, but you want it to be graded at a different key. You can do that. You can also turn on video. So this will capture video as well as audio. It'll still automatically grade the audio, but if you want to see them conduct, that's what this is for. You can also hide the cursor that goes along, you'll see it in a second, that goes along with the beats. You can also add an accompaniment track to play along while they're singing. So I'm going to leave video on. Go ahead and save it. Okay, let me add tapping and then we'll take a look at both of these. So same thing, music XML. This one just has tempo, cursor, and accompaniment. There's no video. All right, let's take a look at the singing and the tapping. So for both of these, the student is going to be able to choose the tempo, assuming you didn't lock it. They can also choose the key. So if they want to move it up and down a couple of steps, that's fine. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to record. I'm not actually going to sing though. Cool. All right, and then so I would just go ahead and click grade, and then it would go out and work its magic and give us some feedback. Same thing with tapping. Right, so we're tapping on the keyboard. It's gonna save it. I click grade, it works its magic, stuff like that. All right. Melodic error detection. I'm going to use this same XML file. And I would then upload a recording of something with errors, right? So I'm going to make the answer key right now. And we can preview it real quick. So melodic error detection. Let's say I said this is sharp. And when I grade it, it's going to say incorrect error marks in this measure. Before it would say something like, well, this error is marked incorrectly, but that sort of gave away the answer. So now it's just measure by measure type of feedback. Okay. So the next couple exercises are ones where you set up some parameters and then everything is automatically generated. So for example, I'm choosing these interval types. I'm choosing how many I want, and I'm choosing how the intervals are played, so harmonic or melodic. I'll just show you real quick. Same thing with triads. This question asked them to write the triads, so I choose which types I want. Display mode, chords, symbols. There's another mode for Roman numerals, which I'll show you in a second. So I choose the number, choose the clef, and then let me preview this. So we go down to interval ID, right, and triad writing. So I play the recording, choose an answer, move on to the next one. And then once I answer all of these, I can grade the whole thing and see which ones I got right or wrong. Triad writing, it's the same idea. So this is asking for G, so I can click in and then move on to the next one. So F diminished or E flat augmented. Okay. Roman numerals. This, I need to go find a bigger XML file. Okay, so for this one, it's a Roman numeral analysis tool. And what you do is just specify the answer. It's not quite advanced enough to automatically do everything, but let's say this was my excerpt and I want to just leave it like that. There's a couple settings here. Let's say you just want to do once per measure. So I can do it where it's only on the downbeat, or I can customize where these prompts appear. So that's only on the downbeat. This would be every 8th note. Or I could do custom. So I could just click each note and I say, okay, I want this. If you really, really wanted to show, oops, sorry. If you really wanted to show something like this, right, you can. So let me change it back to downbeat. The other thing that you can do to test each component of the harmony is change this to root type figures. And so that's going to give me root, type, and figures, right? So I could, instead of writing Roman numerals, I could also just do G major and then maybe leave it blank, or 5/3 or root. It's up to you how you want to evaluate that. Last thing with these Roman numeral questions is you can modify the system spacing. So you see there's kind of some collisions going on here. So I can change this to 20 and then it'll just allow us to breathe a little bit. Oh, right, one other thing, non-chord tones. So you can just go ahead and mark passing tone, neighbor tone, things like this. Okay, part writing. If you remember from the old version of the program, there's figured bass, there's harmonization, things like this. I'm just going to show you part writing because it's pretty similar to all the others. So you give them a starting position, give them the harmonies, and then, did I save anything in here? No. Let's go back real quick so I can show you. Okay, and then let's go preview. So go all the way down, here we go, Roman numerals. I say this is 1/6, this is obviously 5/6/5, and 2. Okay, so those are all wrong. And down for part writing, fill in the inner voices. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, and let's just do it very well. All right, so you can see not the best attempt here. So I'm wrong notes, parallel fifths, all these crazy things. All right, so the last thing that I want to show is this info box. So there's a lot of extra information you might want to include, like a PDF of a score, a YouTube video, something like that. And so that's what this is for. And so this, you can stick it anywhere, right? So if I wanted to put it before a few multiple choice questions, I could do that. And so whatever audio, whatever PDF, whatever YouTube video you want, you can just put it in there. All right, that's about it. Thanks for watching.